Welcome to Everything Co-op, bringing you information on how cooperatives can help improve your quality of life. This show is being sponsored by the National Co-op Bank, NCB. The NCB is dedicated to strengthening communities nationwide for the delivery of banking and financial services for the nation's cooperatives, their members, and other socially responsible organizations. For more information on the power of community ownership, visit ncb.coop. That's ncb.coop. Now stay tuned for your host, Vernon Oakes.
This is Vernon Oakes. Welcome to Everything Cooperative. This morning we have Mr. Rob McClinton on. He has a company that I want him to explain to us what that company's all about. Good morning, Rob. Good morning. How are you? Great. You started Small World. Okay. Tell us what that's about.
Sure thing. So Small World is a web hosting and marketing services company. We started off as just a standard web hosting company, but we pivoted to more of a managed services provider. So as small businesses and organizations need all different types of digital things to be successful online, we help integrate those things into their website. So we don't try to make you choose the different services. You pick what you want to use, and we help it work together.
So how did you get into this?
Well, about 10 years or so ago, I started working for a company that did those parking pages. So you know how you see a really great domain name, how you think about it, and you go to it, and there's just this page of links where there used to be pretty big companies that just had huge portfolios or work with people who just have these great domain names. And so I started working with a company that did that for a while. And they owned a registrar, which is where you go to register domain names. I wound up being put in charge of that, and I kind of fell in love with the industry because it's such a gateway for people to be able to communicate and work together. I had worked in the internet before on online advertising. I worked with GoTo.com. We invented pay-per-click advertising. So it was good to get back to working on the internet and working with helping people to get connected with each other.
Pay-per-click advertising, domain names, digital things.
Yeah.
Okay, I need all of that. Okay. And so your webpage address is?
Smallworld.coop.
Smallworld.coop. And why not bigworld.coop, greatworld.coop? Why Small World?
Well, so when I was looking at acquiring a registrar to get into this business, Small World Communications was the one that's available. And because of my affinity for small local businesses, I've worked with local small businesses a lot in my career. And my mother had her own little small business. I kind of felt it was kismet, so I went with that one.
So your mother had her own small business, so you got into this real early on.
Yeah. Some of my favorite memories as a boy is when my mom sold Watkins products, so like vanilla extract and baking things and spices and stuff like that. And she sold it to the women at the church. And come around September or October, she'd get out the order book and she'd do her rounds to the church, and people see Mama come with the order book in her hand. She doesn't try to hide it. Like she wasn't going to try to sneak up on you and make a sale. She was coming with the order book. So,
okay.
So they knew what the deal was. And Thanksgiving and Christmas were her high season. So in September, October, she was taking a lot of orders, and we'd drive over to the warehouse, and she'd buy the stuff at a wholesale price, come back home, bring it up to the kitchen table, and I'd help her build out the orders. And I remember putting the bottles of vanilla and the spice and salt in the bag, and put the order on it and staple it shut. And then we load it back in the car and drive around our neighborhood in South Side of Chicago making deliveries. And, she'd run it up to the house. I'd stay in the car with the product because, well, one, a lot lot of products.
Southside Chicago.
Southside Chicago, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And this was back in the day when you could leave your kid in the car and it would be okay. Like you wouldn't lose your kid for that. So,
how old were you then?
So, yeah.
How old were you when that started?
So I think I started helping her build the orders when I was 5 or 6. But then when I was from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 is when, I was just her second hand. I was her vice president at that point.
All right. Making VP money. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So she would take the orders. She would take the orders at church with her little pad, and then you would go to the warehouse with her. She would get the orders, you bring them back home, and then you would fill the orders and put them in bags, staple the bags, and then deliver.
Yes.
And did she collect the money when she delivered?
Yeah. She collected money. If she could get it beforehand, and often she did because Mom was really good. She was smooth. I learned a lot from her. She would get it ahead of time. That way she could offset the cost of the wholesale price. But for, some of her friends, she would carry them. But it's, it was COD at that point. So not a lot of folks got credit.
Cash on delivery or cash on order. So she tried to get it when she ordered the money. Okay. ordered the product and they paid there. And since they were all good church-going people, they always paid. There was no question. Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay.
Every now and then there was a question, but but it got answered.
Okay. Okay. So how did your mom get into this? Do you know?
I don't know. I know Mom always had an entrepreneurial streak in her. I found out a lot later on, but one of the things that I learned is that we owned the 2-flat building that I grew up in on the South Side, and Mom wanted to buy other properties and then rent them out. Like that was one of her dreams. So she always had this entrepreneurial streak to her, and I think I got the bug from her on that front. It never worked out, but later on I discovered that she was dyslexic, which is why I think she never finished the 6th grade. I think was the highest that she made it. And I think that doing things like that, taking her future into her own hands and making her own way, was a way of being able to be successful without being dependent upon needing to be able to read and do and to meet other people's requirements and things.
So your mom was dyslexic. So. Yeah. Could she read, or she just mixed things around? The reason I'm interested, before you answer, but the reason I'm interested, Rob, is because I grew up in Bluefield, West Virginia, and we didn't have the testing back then. But I believe after my son was diagnosed as dyslexic, that I was dyslexic. I had a lot of trouble learning how to read and learn how to spell and put words together and all of that. So just curious.
Yeah. So I never learned this while she was alive. It was after the fact. So I don't know what her experience with words and characters and letters were, but she could read. But there was definitely a cap. Like I remember going from sitting on her lap and her reading books to me every night when I was really, really young, to reading together, to her telling me to read to her, which I took as, and it was good practice for me to learn, how to read, right? And if there was a particular word that I was struggling with, and she taught me how to use a dictionary. So I think all of these things were good lessons for me to learn, but at the same time, I think it was also, working around an encumbrance on her part.
Wow. So you got to work with your mom. That must have been wonderful. Okay. Going to church.
Well, like a typical kid, I didn't know how wonderful it was at the time. But
yeah, I said, I want to play basketball. What are you doing? Okay. Okay. So you got this affinity via your mom for small businesses, and so you call it Small World .coop. So how did you get into co-op world?
Yes, it's a great question. I was at one of the Icann conferences, and I met
what's Icann? What's Icann conference?
So ICANN is the semi-governmental body that governs the internet. It's the International Committee of Assigned Name and Numbers, I believe is what it stands for. So they are the folks who, they are the governing body of the internet. And so when you have a company like a registrar, you tend to go to ICANN meetings because the policies that affect your business are determined there. That's how you have a say at the table. And what most people don't know is ICANN meetings are completely open to the public. The public is welcome to come and say, give their piece about something that's not working well. So it's a group of people, the people who help make the internet run. And we used to meet three or four times a year around the planet. Now we're doing it across WebEx, but anyone can join us. It was at one of those meetings where I met the head of the .cooperation registry, Violetta. I'm struggling with her last name. It's Greek. So she runs the .corporation. And so they're the folks who administer .coop. And we got to talking about things. And she explained to me in detail the 7 principles and how cooperators work and the values are, and gave me lots of different examples from real estate to worker cooperatives. And, I have always been someone who believes in that there is no one specific answer. There is no one way to do something. Every healthy body needs a set of organs. And so I've always thought that capitalism was just one organ in the body of an economy. And she gave framework to this other organ that to me seemed like, well, this is a pretty core one. Like this is really on a fundamental level how people have always really worked together, and they've just put some words and structure around it. This is fantastic, right?
Wait a minute. I need you to repeat that, because I got that on this radio show, that this is the way. If you go back to the tribes in Africa, or here in the Native Americans, or you go to Alaska, you go anywhere around the world, people operated like there's this little tribe, and everybody knew what they had to do, and they had to work for the good of the group. And
That's
so
right.
in order for this community to work, everybody had to do it. Everybody had to pitch in. Everybody knew what they had to do, whether it was collecting fire or going out and hunting gatherers or washing the clothes, whatever. Everybody had their task.
Right.
And
That's right.
So they all work cooperatively. Got it.
That's
Got
right.
it. We totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So she introduced me to it. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal, and that really gave me the idea to say, not only do I want to, and not only am I going to focus on small businesses, I really want to focus on this group, these type of organizations, cooperators, and I want to take what I've learned and what I still do and keep track of in the for-profit capitalist world and apply those tools to cooperators.
Okay. So just quickly, what kind of education did you get? Your mom was 6th grade. What did you get? How far did you go?
I have a bachelor's in Loyola, Chicago.
So you went and you finished your degree. So listen, everybody out there, we're talking to Rob McClinton, who had a bachelor's from Loyola, worked with his mom in the church and filling packages, and then he started on the internet. We'll be right back to talk more about cooperatives and how he got into this world and what he's doing now. Please don't touch that dial.
Your news talk station.
Information is power. That's why WL is a great partner, because we are giving you information about cooperative world and how you can work together, going back to our ancestors, back to Africa, or from wherever you've come from, going back to working together to solve community problems, working and figuring out how to do that together. Mr. Rob McClinton is here with us. He's taking on a chunk of this, the small businesses, and connecting us to the internet and how we can market and all of this good stuff. So I'm excited about this conversation. Rob's mom finished the 6th grade. He finished college. Every mom's dream, I think, in America. Every parent's dream is that their kids would do better than they have done. You haven't mentioned your dad, Rob. Where was he in all of this?
Oh, he was there. He was there. He worked for 42 years at a steel mill on the south side of Chicago. So, he worked the second shift, but he got home, after I went to bed until I was older, right? Once I was a teenager, I saw him when he came in, right? And then he left at 2:00. So he left then before I got home from school. So because of that second shift schedule, I generally only saw him on weekends. But yeah, he was there. I'm very grateful for that. And, and all the traditional stuff that you value about a dad. Taught me how to ride a bike, took me to my first Bears game, took me to my first White Sox game. So, I was very fortunate to be able to have both of them there. Fantastic.
It is. And your mom and dad bought their building. It was a duplex, what I call a duplex. You all lived in one, and then they rented out the other.
That's right.
So they had income coming in from the duplex. Your mom sold her products. You said Watkins products. I had not heard of them. They're vanilla extract and other seasonings, and you helped her with her small business. Your dad works in a steel mill, and they're teaching you the basics of life. Yeah?
Yeah. I'm getting a good mix. On one hand, I've got entrepreneurship, and on the other hand, I've got, getting up, going to work, doing, hard union labor every day, right? So,
yeah. It's real interesting. I didn't have the entrepreneur piece. My dad worked in the railroad, and he worked any shift. He was on call almost his whole life. As he got more and more seniority, he could get a job. But for the most part of the life, when I was at home, he was always on call because he could work first shift, second shift, or third shift. I did that job a couple of summers, that working on the railroad. That kind of work helped me to know I don't want that. Okay, I got to figure out something else, and it's through education. I don't have to do that. I worked in Ford factory in Detroit for 9 months, and my mom went back to school and got a degree and started teaching school. So I didn't have the entrepreneur spirit. I didn't get that until much later in life. But once I got bit by it, it was it was it. And real estate was the piece. So I get your mom wanting to buy more real estate and passive income. So something's working for you besides you having to work for yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me some more about co-op. What have you found? I didn't find out about co-ops. I just add this to it until I opened up a business for property management, and I started managing what they call limited equity co-ops, mainly with black folks in Washington, D.C., and most of the board were women. So I watched people without a college degree really run a business and make very, very intelligent decisions. So I had fallen in love with this co-op business. All right. So how did I got how you got it. You're at this digital internet conference and you met the .coop person, because we got our handle everything.coop is our webpage. So we went through that process to get to co-op as opposed to COM or ORG or anything else. Net, I think .net was the other one. So that's the handle we have is .coop too. So we wanted to be in that sphere of the cooperative world. So it was interesting. She went to the 7 principles. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but what has drawn you to this co-op world? She told you about it. You could have said, oh, thank you, bye. But somehow you then pivot to this world as opposed to the capitalistic world. What caused you to come here?
So, when you sell domain names and hosting and things like that, it's a commodity product. So registries like .com or VeriSign and the .corporation, they want registrars to sell their TODs and to make them available. .corporation, though, is a little different because it's one of the oldest TODs, so it's been grandfathered in. Not everyone can get it. You actually have to have a registered cooperative, and they verify that. They don't want to work with just everyone and anyone, so they want to work with folks who get it. And so I appreciate their commitment, right? So they're extremely committed to the movement that they represent, and so they want to see if they run you through the things, like, does the bug bite, right? And it bit, because for me, the idea of working together to build something, to make something is, again, it's very natural to how things have always been done. It makes a lot of sense, and it provides balance in the marketplace. So I think that for me, the one thing I started noticing was that the cooperators themselves were not as aggressive is not the right word, because they'll say, no, we're not aggressive. But when it comes to marketing and promotions, they weren't acting with the same level of tenacity that the for-profit companies were acting with. And I knew from the different companies I've worked with that their success is really just 3 sentences away. If you just tell people why you wanted to make this cooperative to begin with, that energy, that authenticity will close sales. You will get members. And so I wanted to take what I've been learning in the startup community and help folks in the cooperative community grow their cooperatives, their co-ops, make them bigger, make them healthier, make them stronger, and provide balance to the economy and to our society.
Wow. Well, my wow comes from this is why we have this radio show, for the same reason you've come up with what you said. You said not aggressive, don't have the tenacity to get out there and say, hey, we're doing a great job over here. We have a wonderful product. You need to buy our product. This is where you get it. This is how much it costs. This is blah, 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 blah. All of that promotions, marketing. How I came up to it, I had the fortunate pleasure of being at the UN. The only time I've been at the UN. Wow. In 2012, the UN said 2012 is the year of the cooperative. And in October, November, the latter part of 2011, they invited cooperators from around the world to come to the UN. We had a day at the UN. I was the president of the National Association of Housing Co-ops, so that's how I got in the room. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing. When you look, they were in Russia, in China, in Africa, and everywhere. Central America, South America. In Canada, they're much more prevalent than in the U.S. In a lot of places around the world, co-ops are more prevalent. But the thing that kept being said was co-ops are the best kept secret.
Right.
Best kept secret. The co-ops are the best kept secret. And I'm going, why? And I kind of got that we may work together, like in the principle number 6 of the 7 principles you talk about. It says cooperation among co-ops. So we may get together, we talk about what we do and how we do it, but we don't tell the world about it. And the 5th principle is training, education, and information. That's training the people in the co-op how to run a co-op, and we do that fairly well, but we don't train our politicians. We don't train the general public. We don't get that message out. So, and that says it in there. That's part of the duty of that 5th principle, is training everybody. So started this program for the same reason that you got into it, is that we got to get people to go shout from a roof what a great products cooperatives have, just because it's people working together to solve problems, and because it's people working together, they can normally solve the problem and come in very creative, very great ways of doing it. Right. So yeah, let's shout, babe. I got it. I got it. So how long ago was that you got this bug, this maybe the next love?
Yeah, great question. I think that was about 4 years ago. 5 years ago.
Just 4 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot's happened in the meantime, married, 2 kids. So time has become a little bit of a mush, right? But yeah, it was about 4 or 5 years ago is when we had that conversation, and they allowed me to register smallworld.coop. And I started working through
We've got to take our second break. So we're going to come back, everybody, and talk some more to Rob about what are the kinds of things he's going to do in the future, what are the kinds of things we can do in this coronavirus world, what can we do, what can he do also in this world of racism. We'll be right back. Please don't touch that dial.
Your news talk station.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Vernon Oaks, and the program is Everything Cooperative. We have Mr. Rob McClinton on the phone with us this morning. He has started a business, a marketing, digital world business. It's called Small World. His webpage is smallworld.coop. And, we have been sponsored by the National Cooperative Bank for the 6.5 years we've been on the air. NCB's mission is to support and be an advocate for America's cooperatives and their members, especially in low-income communities like the South Side of Chicago, by providing innovative financial and related services. So they've been around. They've been doing a great job. They've been around since the 80s, and they do just a wonderful job. Chuck Snyder and the crew, Roberta McDonald said that they're angels helping to solve community problems, getting that capital out there where it's needed. So we really enjoy having them as a partner. So, Rob, coming back to, you like small businesses. Your mom had her small business. You got bit very early with entrepreneur spirit. She had a 6th grade education. Your father worked in a steel mill, so you saw both of them working. And with your entrepreneur spirit, you went on and got you a degree. What was your degree in? I know from Loyola, undergraduate
economics.
Degree. Economics. Okay, so you wanted to study money and how systems work. So when you say that you knew that the economy is an organism, I like the way you said that, like a body has a lot of organisms, and capitalism is one of those, and you find that co-ops is another one. I like the way you have said it, because I think they need to both exist. So now you started this business 4 years ago. You did mention you have 2 children, married and 2 children. How old are your children?
So Robbie is, he's going to be 3 in September. And then Gabriel just turned 2 in April. So they're
you said the last 4 years. You said the last 4 years, a lot has happened. You were right on. Okay, Dad. All right. Okay. Congratulations. The best part of the world. Okay, so you have 2 small children, wife, and a startup business. And I like what you're doing, so I just want to say to you, Rob, I want to do everything I can to help you to be successful, because you're helping the people be successful that I like. You're helping these small business, cooperative businesses that help solve and balance the economy. I want to talk a little bit more about that. So what are some of the companies you've been working with, and what are some of the things that you've done? And here's why I'm getting to that. I want to get to that is I've got 2 projects now going that I want to get your help on. I really want to look at hiring you to help market everything co-op, particularly in this world of this social media. Rob, I'm 72, so I didn't come up with that. Okay, I got it. So I've been trying to learn it and keep up with it. I know a little bit about Facebook, but Instagram and tweeting and all of that, I don't know. Yeah. And I really don't know how to market even in Facebook. So I need help. And then we have another business, another campaign. A group of cooperators got together, and we're looking at how co-ops can save or enhance or empower the postal system that most Americans wanted to stay. And then there's a group of people that seem like they're trying to mess it up. And cooperators need it. Rural America needs it as more than anybody. And it would really disenfranchise a lot of people if we don't have it, or raise the price, or close down those postal offices in small communities. So we find that it's something that we really need to do. And by the way, let me get this in real quickly. If anybody wanted to know, you can send an email at mail@usps.coop. So we did get the co-op brand also. But if you have any questions about that, we'll be sending out emails to people in the co-op world how they can sign on to a letter to Congress on this one. But I really want to see how we can push that and push that and push that. So I want to get your help in that. So tell me now, what are some of the kinds of organizations that you've been working with, and what are the kinds of services that you provide?
Sure thing. So a lot of our customers to date have been individual small businesses. The folks who have had a dream about doing something for a while, had an idea for a product, and they put a website up, or folks who are running a brick and mortar business They knew they needed a website, but they, for some reason, just hadn't gotten around to it. So I started doing workshops with the SBA to help people plan on setting up a website. In the same way you wouldn't just walk down the street and just pick any old building for your restaurant or for your laundromat. You need to do some work, some investigation to make sure that the building is proper. So my workshops were designed to help people plan ahead so that they could save time and money when they actually pull the trigger with whoever they choose to go with, whether it's me or someone else. And I was very thankful that a number of them chose to go with me. So they've been very, very individual businesses. A lot of that has changed in the last 3 months, as you might expect with COVID. So on the one hand, a lot of the materials we've been working on, the website, all of that stuff was geared around helping people overcome the fear of taking the step to set up the website. Mm-hmm. That fear just got wiped away, right? Like if you didn't have a website set up before, you now know the reason why. So that's check, right? So the good news is that that objection was just wiped out. The bad news is that everything was set up to address that objection, right? So re-engineering that stuff. But a lot of the work has been around getting people to do the very thing you were talking about, is to step into social media. A lot of folks are Gen Xers or boomers, and there's a concern if you get on social media that you're going to wind up in a flame war with someone, or that you're just going to get overwhelmed and not be able to stay on top of things. So, I did this marketing seminar with KDC, Keystone Development Corporation, a couple of weeks ago, and I'm a member of them. They're a phenomenal group. And I walked folks through how to write a simple marketing plan, a simple social media plan, and here's some key things to know about the different social media channels to give them a framework to operate around. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is helping give a framework so that people can decide, okay, do I want to do this on my own, or do I want to hire someone? And so that they can hire, if they choose to hire, they can hire with confidence. So I'm just trying to teach people how to, fish as quickly as they can. And then if they want to fish some more, we can do that. If they want me to go out in the boat and get it for them, I'll do that too.
So let's talk about going out in the boat.
Yeah.
So I happen to like red snapper and trout. So what would you provide? Okay. How would you help me get what it is I need? So what we're needing is, I want more people to know about our business. So I guess you could help by telling me some of the business you've worked with, particular co-ops, so that they can come to the door. You don't have to go to the church to get the order like you did with your mom,
right,
but they can come to the door, get the order, or go to your webpage and get to the order, or somehow they know that this co-op is there. So tell me what's up. Who are some of the companies you work with, and what are the kind of services that you provide? What fish do you provide?
Sure thing. So the companies themselves are small individual folks, no co-ops yet. And so I haven't talked with them ahead of time about, their business names. But what we've done for them, we've put up websites, we've put up landing pages. Those are all bread and butter things that we do and we provide. And then there's the whole range of marketing services. So I do this in a very cooperative way. I partner with other marketers, other agencies, and so I'm the front person you talk to, and you tell me, this is my need. I analyze to decide, okay, who is best to fulfill that need? Can I do it? Can Julian, my design partner, do it? Or is this something that we should shop out to one of our marketing specialists? And then I get you connected. I don't step away. I am your point person. I'm your guy. And I make sure you get what you need. I act as your project manager for your company. And so what we can provide is pretty much everything. So SEO, like I went to everything.coop and I ran an SEO report on the website to see how is this showing up.
What kind of report is that now? What kind of
search engine optimization.
Okay.
So it determines how does Google, how does Google see your website? And when people go searching for content, how do you show up? And so these factors play into marketing, because if your site doesn't show up very quickly, then people these days will bail. the next generations, the next couple of generations are not want for waiting around, right? So,
Okay.
so I did an analysis of your site. We provide these analysis for anyone who has a .coop domain name. We'll give you this analysis for free.
So what did you find out about everything.coop when you did that SEO?
Yeah, it loads a little slow, so it gets a low rating for how quickly it loads. And buried within the site, you have some dead ends, so links that don't resolve. And so Google doesn't like that, so it'll treat your site less favorably when you have those. So the good news is that I have a list of all of them, right? So I have a list of all the links that don't resolve. I have a list of all the images on your website that don't have a tag. So an alt tag behind the image is for folks who can't see, who are blind. If they're using a reader, the alt tag says this is what this image is. This is what this image is. And so if you don't have an alt tag, it just says blank image or something like that, which Google also does not treat very favorably. And there's also some new disability legislation that could possibly become a problem for websites that don't allow themselves to be read mechanically. But once again, I have a list of all of those images too. So it's all, we can solve it all.
Wow. Okay. So why do I want my web page optimized, everything co-op? Why do I want that optimized, and how does that help me?
So when someone is looking for information about either the service you provide, the product you provide, they want a result that's going to come through quickly, and people make a decision based upon how high you are in the rankings. So if you're at the top of the list, that someone says cooperative podcast, and you're at the top of the list, you are far more likely to get the click and the visit than the person who's even at number 2. Depending upon the term, you can be twice as likely as number 2. If you're in the top 3, those top 3 links will capture the lion's share of all the traffic for a search term. So you want your site to be optimized so you can be as high in the list for these search terms as possible. And then you want to be on as many relevant search terms as possible too. So people are going to search for the same thing in different ways, and they're going to say it in different ways. Some people use a couple of short words. Some people will type almost a sentence into Google looking for it, right?
Okay.
Either way, you want to be there.
So I got to tell you real quickly is that depending on your price, it's always an issue in marketing. I want to hire you. I got it right. I already know that. And we're going to talk a little bit more when we come back after our third break. The time is almost gone. I got too many more questions to ask you. But it's like, what are the other services you provide? And I also want to get into some of the issues of the day. But we'll be right back. Yeah. Please don't touch that down.
Your news talk station.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Vernon Oaks, and the program is Everything Cooperative. We have Rob McClinton on the line. I want to hire him to help us optimize our search engine and do some marketing for Everything Co-op and the United States Postal Service, trying to help empower it and support it. So I know I want to hire you, and I know there's a lot of need for your services out there in the co-op world and in other worlds. And I just want to give a shout out to Peggy and Stephen at KDC. They're great folk. They introduced us to you, and they do a lot of good work. And Pat Thornton, who is my partner in this program, she's the brain behind it. She's the producer. She just got elected to their board, and so it's exciting. But the KDCs, there's a lot of them, and love to see you get in front of a lot of these organizations. With COVID, it may be hard to get to Cincinnati and get in front of the Cincinnati Union Cooperative Initiative. They have a nice, the National Association of Housing Co-ops, Cooperative Impact Conference with the NCBA. I could see you in front of a lot of these folks because the business world, particularly small business world, needs your services. The co-op world definitely needs it because people just don't know about it. So the more we can get people out there to know about it, the better.
That's right.
So let's just switch a little bit. You're African American. I'm African American. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got to get a plug-in for you. We got to see how we can help you make some money so you can feed that 2-year-old and 3-year-old. Okay, so we want to take that on. I got it. I know how much they cost. I got it. Okay. So the George Floyd issue, which highlighted when that police officer had his knee on his neck with his hand in his pocket, looking smug at the cameras, killing him, has outraged particular young people that didn't grow up like I did in the South with racism and seeing it firsthand every day. So I'm liking the response and hoping that that response will cause major change in the United States.
Yeah.
What do you see some of the kinds of things that co-ops can do or your business can do that help with this problem of racism? So that's the first one I want to talk about. Let's see what you got there.
Sure thing. So, when I advise people as a marketing consultant, I ask them straight out, and they say, we want to say something, we want to put something out there. And I ask them why. And it's an honest question because, regrettably, Mr. Floyd is not the first person to die at the hands of the police. And so, why now, right? And I say that because I want organizations to, if you're going to take a step forward, if you're going to stand up, then stand up. And if you're not, but don't do it just because everyone else is, right? Because there's one that it's horribly insincere. So you're better off saying nothing if you're really not committed to standing up for the thing. And two, these days, if you say you're against something, and those are just words, not backed up through actions, you will get flamed on social media, right? And if you're reaching out to me for help, you're going to be flamed on social media and not know it because you're not on social media, right? Just to know what's going on. So I'm encouraging organizations, if you're going to do it, great. Simple principle, lead, follow, get out of the way. So if you're going to lead, then do something that's definitive and strong. So that could be something like, we're going to open up a board seat for someone from the Black community. It could just be writing a check. And I'm sincere in this. I talk with the president of the Pasadena NAACP regularly. It's the second oldest chapter in the United States, actually. And
which one is that? Which one?
The Pasadena chapter.
Oh, Pasadena. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second oldest. Wouldn't know it.
No.
And, they have expenses, too. So if you want to write a check, that's fine. But if you want to lead, don't just write one check. Make a multi-year commitment and say, we're going to stand with you to solve this problem for the next 5-10 years, and we're going to commit this to every year. Or, you could do something as simple as, if you bring in lunch for your employees every Friday, then take a look at your vendor list and just give a Black-owned restaurant a chance to win the business. And I'm not saying you got to knock out all the other vendors and just go, only Black-owned restaurants for every lunch, just one Friday, right? Just look at your vendor list and see, is there an opportunity there to give a Black-owned business a chance to earn my business? That's a systemic solution that has trickle-down effects. So that's leading. Following is, maybe just writing the one-time check. That's fine. And then getting out of the way is just not blocking progress. Just don't block progress. If you're not going to make a statement, if you're not going to do something, that's fine. But don't stand in the way of other folks trying to do something.
So how can your company or co-ops help to lead? I'd say lead. Following and getting out of the way aren't two of mine because this is a 400-year problem in the U.S. and it's probably a problem since the beginning of mankind. This racism or one group trying to be on top of another, and it's just not black-white. I mean, the Italians had it. The immigrants, when they came over, they had their different groups, so they were called different things. Definitely, religious. The Jews had the issues. The Muslims do now. I mean, so it's like, well, the Jews do too, but it's real clear what's happening with Muslims in terms of discrimination. So how can co-ops or how can your business help to get this out, or how can we as cooperators help to solve this?
Sure thing. So with my business, I'm taking a look at opportunities to help raise awareness about Black businesses whenever possible. This ties a little bit into COVID, but when the restaurants were shut down, one of the things that we did was we created an app. You can actually see it we created two of them. One of them is pasadena.belocalstrong.com, and it's a web app. And what it showed was all the restaurants that were open for curbside pickup and curbside delivery or takeout delivery, and all their different delivery apps were all on one page. So we tried to make it super easy for you to support local restaurants by just coming here. And so we're looking at how can we do that for Black businesses to make it super easy for people to find products, services, and vendors, because we want to do a B2B version of that to meet that need. Because I understand that people want to do something, but they're not sure what to do. And I think that might be really the next thing, and maybe it's part of the education value, is if you're not really sure what to do, I would strongly encourage folks to arrange a meeting with your local chapter of the NAACP or some other organization, your local Black church, and ask the question and listen, what can we do? And then just listen and be very clear that you're in it because you want to help solve the problems. So because, they want to know, they don't want to invest the time if you're just going to walk away, and then listen to see how your organization might fit in. I think that's probably the biggest thing folks can do is to care enough to have the conversation.
Wonderful. So is your company available to help create these apps?
Absolutely.
And they can get you by doing what? How would
Absolutely. So just reach out to me. You got to email me, rob@smallworld.coop, or go to the Small World site and fill out the contact form. I like that one because it pushes your information into a really nice, easy to sort type of the thing for me to manage. Because again, I got toddlers running around. So just go to smallworld.coop and fill out the form. And again, like I said, any co-op actually that I'm completely willing to provide a free SEO analysis of your existing website. Just go fill out the form on the website, and I'll provide it to you. I'll email it out to you, and then you can take that data and give it to your webmaster to fix, or we can talk about me doing it for you, but I'm happy to help.
So any co-op out there, just go to smallworld.coop, smallworld.coop, fill out the form, and you will do this SEO free of charge. And then you'll send back to them a email that gives them this, and then they can either go solve the problem or they can hire you to solve the problem.
That's right.
That's a great marketing tool.
Yeah.
That's a great marketing tool. I like that. Sir, we only have a minute. What do you want to leave people with? Rob, this is gone. I have a lot of more questions to ask you, but quick, what would you like to leave people with?
What you do is valuable. It's powerful. Share it. Don't be stoic. This is your business. This is your organization. You feed families through what you're doing. Let other people know about it. People are starving for authentic organizations to do business with. It might as well be yours.
Fantastic. All right, let's get out there, co-op world, and market, promote your business. Okay, everybody out there, live a great week. We'll see you next week. Live cooperatively. Thank you.
Your news talk station.